Scholastic Audio presents When We Flew Away, a novel of Anne Frank before the diary, by Alice Hoffman, read by Mara Wilson. The Frank sisters dreamed in German, slipping into the language of their earliest memories, a time when they hid beneath the lilac trees at their other grandmother's house. That grandmother was their father's mother, Alice Frank Stern, and they called her Omi to distinguish her from their dear Oma, who lived with them now. Their grandmothers were as different as night is from day. Oma was warm and endearing, while Omi was elegant and demanding. Family was everything, their mother often said. They will be there for you when everyone else disappears. Omi had eluded the Nazis by leaving Germany for Basel, Switzerland, and now the sisters barely remembered her house, not even whether or not there had been a garden. Had there really been wisteria, or had they imagined the purple blooms that wrapped around the porch, with petals that covered the ground when the wind blew them down? Were the lilacs really so tall that when Anne and Margot hid behind the bushes, no one could find them, or had they simply been so small back then? Their early childhood was another world to them now, a lost world. Good people often could not understand why the oldest stories were filled with demons and dangerous beasts. They had no idea that when evil appears, you cannot fight it with arrows or stones. It is invisible and it is everywhere. The first sign is the scent of something burning, as if a fire had been set and the air was filling with black, acrid smoke. It's best to run into the woods when this happens, even if there are wolves sleeping beneath the trees. You know what a wolf is the minute you see it, but an evil person can be hidden from sight. He's often in disguise. He can look like your neighbor, or a woman in a shop where you buy groceries, or like the person you thought was your friend. Anne knew things she wasn't supposed to know, because she had overheard her parents talking when they thought she was fast asleep. She slipped from her room into the corridor, then sat on the steps in the hallway where she wouldn't be noticed. What if we chose wrong? Anne heard her mother say. What if we should have gone elsewhere? The Netherlands was, is, and always will be a free nation, Ada replied. You have to believe in some things. You have to put your faith in what is good. The Franks had come here because it was one of the most tolerant countries in Europe, with a long history of freedom and acceptance, having been neutral during the Great War. We'll be safe there, Otto Frank had told his family and friends, and everyone had agreed. Why should they have any doubts? Amsterdam had seemed an obvious place to run to because of its open-door policy for refugees who could afford the legal paperwork. But all foreigners were requested to register with the government. The Franks were outsiders again, and it was just the beginning, only they didn't know it. Hatred arises so quickly that one drop is all it takes before it spreads like ink on a page. Still, the girl's father was convinced the rising tide of prejudice against the Jews was a temporary evil stirred up by a few bad people. Evil could disappear, like smoke, like ashes. Most people were good at heart. He was sure of it. And this dark night was a storm that would pass, as all storms did. We will see it through, Pim told his wife, until we come to the other side. But Anne wondered if it was possible for a girl to be so worried that even when she was in her own bed, she walked through the woods all alone. She listened for wolves when the moon rose, even though they lived in the city of canals, in a country where a wild wolf had not been seen for nearly 50 years. At night, Anne dreamed of goblins, and when she awoke in the morning, she wondered what they would find waiting for them. There are wars, Pim had told Anne and Margot to comfort them the next day, but there is also peace, he assured the girls. That is what most people want, a world where their children are safe, where they can sleep through the night, where all people can walk down the street and not be arrested because of who they are. You will see, Pim vowed. We'll be safe here. And yet, When they sat down to dinner, Anne noticed that her father was still standing by the window after the meal had been set on the table, a distracted expression on his face while he gazed into the empty square, as if waiting for the darkness to come. In the dark, the empty streets glowed in the glare of the streetlights. Of the nearly 50,000 Jews who had applied to move to the Netherlands, trying to escape the chaos in Germany, only 25,000 had been allowed to enter, not as citizens, but as refugees, lost souls without a country of their own. That was what the sisters were now, only they didn't know it yet. They were outsiders here in Amsterdam, and when some people are less than others, and only a select few have rights, anyone who doesn't belong can never be safe.